Hello, this is Charlie from Tropical Birding and welcome to this video trip report from this year's Spain tour. This was a tour of central and southern Spain that we call the Europe Introtour. This tour is sandwiched between the Morocco set departure tour and the northern Spain tour. So if you want a longer tour, you can do that. Let's have a quick look at the Tropical Birding website. Here you can find some information about birding southern Spain. And I couldn't say it any better than the first sentence here. It says, if I take one trip to Europe, where should that be? And the answer is almost certainly Spain. It's one of the best, if not the best, birding location in Europe. Here on the website, we've got some wonderful photos and some important information about the tour. There's a map. It's a 9-day tour, starting in Madrid and finishing in Sevilla or Seville. It's pretty easy and it's just a wonderful trip, as you're going to see. As usual, we'll start with a map. Here you can see Spain located sort of the gateway to Africa, just across the Straits of Gibraltar from Morocco, in the southwest of Europe. The tour starts in Madrid, Spain's capital, at Adolfo Suarez International Airport, and we stay at a nice airport hotel nearby. From Madrid, we headed west, and our first stop was just a quick bathroom break west of Madrid. Here we saw some sparrows. As you can see, the one in the center is a house sparrow. If you look at the one on the left, it's got a sort of chestnut cap and some different patterning there, black streaking on the back and on the chest. So yeah, this is a Spanish sparrow. So yeah, we drove from Madrid west towards the Monfragüe National Park. And there was a couple of viewpoints that we visited. The first one was a place called Puerto de la Serrana, where we saw our first birds. As you can see, the landscape's very kind of undulating and hilly. Good for raptors. Yeah, so we had some great birds here. Golden eagle, lots of vultures, our first cinereous vultures, Egyptian vultures, spectacular bird, endangered species. We went on from Puerto de la Serrana to another place called Salto de Gitano, also in the Monfragüe Park. And again, this is in a valley, and we're looking across there at a big kind of rocky outcrop with tons of vultures. It was really great. So this is us looking across there, taking pictures, and just a constant movement of vultures the whole time, mainly Eurasian griffon vultures, but also more cinereous and Egyptian vultures. We had them perched as well, quite close. Also had some nice passerines. This is the common chaffinch singing. Lots of other nice birds, rock buntings, European goldfinches. From Salto de Gitano, we went further south to a place called Pago de San Clemente, where we had a bit of lunch. This was one of the centers of the park. There was like a visitors center there. A lot of beautiful old farm buildings. One thing I've been told about this tour before is that it's quite hard to get bad food in Spain. And it really was the case. Almost everywhere we went, the food was exceptional. And you wouldn't be exaggerating to label this tour as a sort of birding and food tour. It's really that good. I'm a vegetarian, so there was some wonderful vegetarian food as well, but great meats. This is some information about the Monfragüe Park, quite a historical town here, interesting area. We went on to explore some kind of rural areas, small little villages and quiet farm lanes and stuff like that. It was very charming, very, very nice. And this was our main target of the afternoon, was the Iberian magpie. A little bit similar to the Asian azure-winged magpie, which it used to be considered the same species as, but now it's Iberian endemic. From Pago de San Clemente, we went on to Trujillo, where we were going to stay for 3 nights. Trujillo is an absolutely stunning town. The fact that it's the most convenient place to stay for birding is incredibly lucky, because normally on a birding tour you don't stay in places like this. This is like historical provincial capital and just fascinating place. And this is where we stayed, the Eurostar's Palacio de Santa Marta, and it was just incredible. You know, it's just not the kind of place you normally stay on a bird watching tour. You feel quite lucky. So it does feel like a sort of combination birding, food and culture tour. It's so people interested in culture and language and food, it's a really good choice. After I dropped the clients, I had to go and park the car, and the guy on reception jumped in with me, and he directed me to the car park. And it was around these crazy narrow alleyways, and we ended up like on top of the castle, parked with this amazing view. And then we walked back down through these staircases. I mean, it's so charming. The next morning, we started exploring the area. This time, the Cáceres Plain west of Trujillo, an area of kind of green rolling fields. Just zoom out a little bit here so you can see it better. But it's this kind of rural landscape. It's got quite a few special birds. We were getting out and scanning for our main target, and we were joined by a Eurasian jackdaw. But yeah, this was the main bird we were looking for. They were a little bit distant. This was the Great Bustard, but they were displaying. The male is all kind of puffed up there, and you can see the size difference between the males and the females. This is one of the heaviest flying birds in the world, the Great Bustard. Spectacular. Yeah, very happy to find this bird. A lot of other good birds in the area. Red-legged partridges we saw very nicely. Good for raptors, Montagues, harriers, western marsh harriers, a female here. Great area for larks as well, very similar crested and Thekla larks, and Calandra larks. I'll play a bit of video of the Calandra lark so you can hear it singing. Beautiful. And lots of wildflowers as well. It's just such a lovely time of year to be there. Greater short-toed lark. Other birds, windchats, woodchat shrikes. Yeah, some really nice birds. And then, of course, more food. We stopped at almost everywhere you go. The food is just absolutely spectacular. Just incredible meats. The meat is quite famous around there. They have a very famous type of pork, where the pigs are kept outside and they feed on acorns in the oak woodlands. So very nicely flavored meat. In the afternoon, we explored the area further. There was a sort of big quarry area and rocks. We went looking for Eurasian Eagle-Owl. We didn't see it there, but we did try another spot, and I made quite a good spot of this bird. It was probably 1 kilometer away or more. So this is digiscope through the scope, but I managed to pick out this Eurasian Eagle-Owl. Despite being very far away, it was just a very fun chase because we've been trying lots of different places, and then just to finally find it and have such a lucky spot. Yeah, it was actually one of the birds of the trip. In the evening, back to Trujillo for dinner. We went to a restaurant on the plaza itself, and it was just pretty magical. There's a statue of Pizarro, one of the conquistadors. If you put up a statue of him in South America, it'd probably get torn down. He's not a very popular character, but in Spain, he's sort of one of these very influential historical figures. And you're looking around the plaza, and you're hearing the white stork clacking their bills, nesting on top of buildings, and common swifts streaking by, and it's just a wonderful atmosphere. And the food. These kind of goat's cheese salads, just some wonderful cheeses. I love cheese. But some great meats as well. We didn't want for good food. And then the next morning we were back on the plains again, searching for more birds. We tracked down the pintail sandgrouse flying around. More vultures, Eurasian griffins, more cinereous vultures. So yeah, quite a stronghold of vultures in the area. Other raptors, short-toed snake eagles, more rock buntings. Yeah, so this is the sort of habitat we were birding, mixture of hills and lakes and forests. Yeah, it was quite diverse. It's another spot known for Eurasian Eagle-Owl. We were scanning for more of those. And then more food for lunch, more wonderful goat's cheese salads and avocados. This is my colleague Pablo, who was co-guiding the tour. He ordered a small bowl of soup and ended up with like a sort of wash basin full of soup that he had to try and eat himself. And he's Ecuadorian, you know, sometimes they have a lot of strange names for foods, which are not always evident. The next morning, we said goodbye to Trujillo. Very sadly, we had 3 nights there. Very special place. Really charming place. You know, after dinner in the evenings, you just stroll around the plaza and explore. Really, really wonderful place to stay on a tour. From Extremadura, where Trujillo is, we headed south to Andalusia and a town called El Rocío, which is equally as charming as Trujillo, and another place that you feel that you've got no right to stay on a birding tour. This is, you feel like you're in a movie set. It's a really remarkable place. It's sandy streets and people riding horses around and white churches and, it's just absolute. And the location right next to the Doñana National Park, right next to a beautiful big lake full of water birds. And the hotel we stayed at, incredible food again. We had a wonderful lunch there, all different types of soups and soufflés and cheeses, just incredible. And then would you just step outside the hotel and there's a beautiful path going all the way around the lake. Have these local stone pines, very distinctive trees, look like a lollipop. And just wonderful birding. Straight away, we got marbled duck straight out. One of the big targets of the trip. Common reed warblers, some nice lizards, the Andalusian wall lizard, glossy ibis, Eurasian spoonbills. And in the evening, we would meet in the courtyard to do our checklist. And of course, everybody was enjoying a nice glass of wine. And then they lit the place up at night with all these little fairy lights. Oh, just magical. And a lot of nice birding sites very close to town. There was another visitor center just very close to town, just 10 minutes away, called La Rocina. Again, they had some water birds here, common squawker herons, lots of white storks around, and more interesting herps, the large Samodramus, this one is called. And also, just walking around these stone pine woodlands was lovely. Back to town for more food. Some of the food is just so simple, you know, but just wonderful, tasty ingredients. This was just like chopped tomato with garlic, olive oil and salt. And they ate with this amazing bread. It's just so simple, but just so delicious. Nice calamari, wonderful coffees, desserts. We headed down to the coast, to a place called Mata las Cañas. It was a sort of seaside resort, but because it's just spring, there wasn't, it was pretty empty. We kind of had the place to ourselves. And we stood on the top of the low cliff looking over the sea, watching a bit of visible migration. We had, my colleague Pablo and we just kind of sat in the grass and just scanned over the sea. Groups of purple herons flying by and all types of gulls and, the odd seabird. So that was, add a little bit of diversity to the trip list. From there, a little bit north, there was another center of the national park called El Acebuche, just centered around this beautiful old building. It's got red-rumped swallows sort of nesting there. This is quite a famous area for lynx. We actually looked quite hard for lynx, but we didn't see any. But it's not unusual to find lynx around here. This is the Iberian lynx, which was at one point very, very rare and endangered, but now is making a bit of a comeback. Again, this same stone pine woodland with some really nice birding. Have some boardwalks that you could walk along. Finally got our target, Dartford Warbler, woodlark, crested tit. So some really good birds. And in the evening, back to El Rocío, and we walked around the other side of the lake. No, actually, I think we drove around the other side of the lake, looking across at the church, which just looked absolutely beautiful. And we had a wonderful dinner at a local restaurant, and just watched the sun go down, and they lit up the whole town over there. So yeah, just very memorable experience. The next day, we took a bit of a drive to the Odiel wetland, Marismas de Odiel, which was a wonderful place. It had been a very wet year. The water levels were very high, and it had kind of affected where we could get to. Some of the wetlands were not accessible in the Doñana National Park. And also Odiel wetlands, where the water level was very high. But we still saw a few good birds. This is one of the signs from there. Famous place for flamingos and also a lot of shorebirds there. You can see this is explaining about the water level and where the different birds feed. And we took a walk around. Actually, it did rain a little bit that day, but yeah, between showers, we sort of headed out on some of the trails looking for water birds. We had nice greater flamingos flying by. And as I mentioned before, yeah, lots of other shorebirds and water birds. And of course, another wonderful lunch. It's like a sort of pulled pork sandwich. Yeah. I can't tell you just how good the food was. It was a really, really wonderful food trip. A lot of great salads and cheeses especially. And before we left, we managed to track down one of our other targets, the Iberian chiffchaff, and a few other new birds, a Eurasian Wryneck hiding in a little thicket. Yeah, and finally we said farewell to La Malvasia, place that we stayed, which was another just very, very charming lodge with excellent accommodation and excellent food, very well located. And yeah, so we left Little Rocío and we went to another wetland on the way to Seville. Here we got a few more water birds, black-crowned night herons, more marble ducks. We saw quite a few of these very special and rare ducks. Great crested grebes, lots of ducks, common pochards, ferruginous ducks. And finally, a target on this tour is the red-knobbed coot, very rare bird in Europe. And especially, a bird of conservation importance locally, although it's very widely distributed in Africa. You go to South Africa, you'll just see this on any little pond. But there, it's quite a rare bird, so that was nice to track down. Yeah, and from there, we headed to Seville Airport, and we stayed at a local airport hotel where we finished out the tour and had our final dinner together and flew out the following morning. I'll just finish by showing you the eBird trip report. As I say, it was a very wet year. It meant that we weren't able to access some areas, and some birds that were normally quite common on this trip were kind of absent. It caused some changes in the distributions of the birds, but still we did pretty well. Some of the birds we missed on this tour we caught up with in the north as well. So yeah, a good combination. If you do have time, it's definitely worthwhile doing the south and the north. The north will be covered in a separate video, so please check that out too. So yeah, just under 150 bird species, and yeah, photographed about 85. So even though it's a birding trip, quite good photographic opportunities. In the trip report, I'll put a link to my iNaturalist page as well, where I've got a few other photos of some herbs and plants and things. Thank you for joining me on this short video trip report, and I hope you've got some idea of what the Spain birding trip is all about. I would love to see you on a trip there in the future. All the best. Take care. Bye.